Apparently, I talked to a bunch of marshals about on a serious note. Now, I talked to a bunch of marshals about this leaking of police details, and the officers that are looking into it do not feel comfortable talking to anyone in the marshals department except for you, because they think that you're the only one that's able to look at the situation objectively.
Okay, so that suggests that they think that other marshals are going to be subjective about it, but why? Give me a little bit to go.
Yeah, I think there's people in the LSPD that feel like the marshals were targeting them, versus kind of like there's been inaction that's taken. They think there's been inaction that's taken place in the BCSO versus the LSPD, and they think that there is bias, and they think that you do not have bias, and you kind of just are there to do your job. That's it. That's the best way I could put it.
Okay.
Okay, you want me to shoot you straight? You got motherfuckers like Helen the Felon going around violating people's rights, and I mean, the marshals just don't even push for a firing on the person. People are committing felonious acts inside of the BCSO. The marshals choose not to do anything, and they leave it up to high command. And they feel like if this is now that I'm thinking about it, it might be a BCSO officer that fucking leaked it. And guess what? We don't want the same situation with Helen the Felon to happen. There, I said it.
Okay, listen. I think those are I think from an outside perspective, those are valid concerns. Like if you're seeing things going, unanswered, then that's going to be a valid concern from, your perspective, right? But at the same time, if it's difficult for me to then, for you guys to know that there might be leaks in a department, and then
there are leaks in the department.
Yeah, I agree. This is what I'm saying. If you know there's leaks in the department, and I'm not saying this is you, this is coming from the other people. If they know there's leaks in the department, and they know that the people who are investigating, aka me and the rest of my department, are the ones that are going to be looking into that, why wouldn't they want to work alongside those people? I don't understand do they think that these people are going to ignore things? Do they think they're going to ignore, evidence or something? Is that what they think?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the only example I could give is kind of like the. I mean, there's been a few things that have happened with the marshals. Moss and I went to somebody over a deputy threatening physical violence against Peach and Jeb. The marshal then said, "Well, you know what? They were hissing at him, so now I'm going to have to go after the LSPD officers for harassment." And I mean, I was like, okay, well, it's a little bit different when somebody's threatening to put somebody's teeth in the back of their throat, but go ahead and do what you need to do. Nothing ever came of that. Not a goddamn thing. This whole Helen thing that I keep going back to, somebody was unconscious. She held them at gunpoint, took their phone and read them, read their phone, which is according to our
I didn't know that fucking happened.
Legislation is a violation of their rights. Nothing happened with it. So I think their whole thing is they don't. If they think something is found, they just think it will be swept under the rug unless you were dealing with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it to some extent. But
I don't know. I was down to work with whoever, but I think you got to talk to them.
Are those people is it Dan and Maxwell? Is it that group of people?
Not Den. It's Maxwell and Masters.
Boy. Where's Masters getting it from?
I don't know. I didn't say anything. I just said they were working on this whole fucking raid thing. And listen, there was obviously mishandling of shit that happened with the case that's going on. Right. I won't deny that, but It seems like that, like every step along the way, they've been met with resistance, which, I mean, legally, obviously the defendants have the right to do that, but it seems like the defendants have information that was supposed to be classified to the LSPD, and they've had it. I mean, we've had oh god, I mean, we've even, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of shit. I don't want to go into it because I don't think, actually, you know what, it was we had a BCSO deputy go in and basically say there was a violation of rights and that the raid was unwarranted and people were lying on the warrant without ever being a part of the situation. That kind of, I don't know why they did that, but it's like there's individuals inside of the police department that just want to see everyone else fail.
Okay, who was saying that?
Um, I mean, I don't. It's it. I don't. I think that it was cleared up, and the officer operated under the guise of he said he just wanted clarification. But I don't necessarily buy it. I don't think it's important. I just am trying to give an example of them being worked against this whole thing. I mean, do you not want to take it?
No, no,
Is that
that's
what it
not.
is?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying. I think my point is that I will happily work it, but there comes a point where, like, if this is a very serious case, and if you know, if there is a complaint about leaks within the PD, then I think this needs to be a joint effort, and there can't really be like this whole thing about I don't trust this party and we don't trust that party. There just needs to be a joint effort where we work together and figure out who it is or what parties are involved, and there can't be this whole like I don't trust this person, I don't trust that person.
Well, I think you need to talk to Maxwell and Masters then, because I think I'm probably missing critical details. I did bring it up to other marshals, and I was well, no, I mean, I there's marshals I don't trust.
But why? Okay.
Well, I mean, I had marshals come into my fucking LSPD meeting and threaten to fire people over. Okay, here, there's a multitude of reasons, right? Legislation being changed in the Angel Act, essentially misquoting of the Constitution to define marshals' jobs. There's one. Marshals coming in and telling people they're going to fire people for reading a public document. There's two. What else is there? Obviously, I keep going back to the Helen the Felon thing. There's three. There's a lot of situations that are happening that end up tainting the faith that I have in the marshals. I mean, I get it. Nobody's perfect, but I mean, it's just like there's a bunch of shit fucking happening, and it's like, fuck, what do I do? You know? I mean, there's honestly.
What was the sorry? What was the Constitution being? What was that? What was that thing?
Read the okay. So legislation on, I think it's under powers and definitions. Let me look. No, it's not that one. What's the Angel and DOC Act? What's that one called?
Yeah, I know what you want to bet. I hate all these fucking legislation.
Let me look it up.
It's
San
too
Andreas State
many.
Marshals and Correctional Officers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here. So there's a bold thing. The San Andreas State Marshals with jurisdictional authority over the San Andreas is recognized as hierarchically higher than the two police departments. It is enshrined authority to engage and solve countywide disputes between police departments of Los Santos and Blaine County as the authority to engage interdepartmental disputes up to and including command structure, hiring, firing, standing operating procedures, standing orders, and other internal issues when these threaten the safety of San Andreas or threaten the peace of San Andreas. Additionally, the San Andreas Marshals reserve the right to directly intervene in county law enforcement agencies to correct negligent, corrupt, or incompetent behavior by any law enforcement officer employed by the Blaine County Sheriff's Office or Los Santos Police Department. This may take form of disciplinary action, but is not limited to punishments, firing, censure. So we have that. Then if you move up to marshals, there's a quote from the Constitution, and it is misquoted. The DOJ shall have a law enforcement agency responsible for overseeing other law enforcement officers.
Where am I looking?
Observing or preserving the integrity and safety of the state, the Constitution, citizens' right, and the laws of the state. So that's a misquote from the Constitution. And it says this grants the Department of Justice the authority to create the San Andreas State Marshals. In the Constitution itself, I think it's Article 2, line 1. Article 2, line 1. Legislative authorities. The DOJ shall have a legislative authority over all legal and judicial matters within the state Andreas. It ensures the enforcement of laws, uphold justice, and protects the right of citizens. Blah, blah, blah. The DOJ shall have a law enforcement agency that is responsible for overseeing other law enforcement officers. That's literally the only justification for the marshals we have. There's a second line that says they are also responsible for preserving the integrity and the safety of the state constitution, citizens' rights, and the laws of the state. But unfortunately, the way the Constitution is written, it falls under the Department of Justice, not under the marshals.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. It's not. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Which oversight? Yes, oversight is what the marshals are. For people to come in and intervene, there's kind of like again, I guess if you ask what my issues are, there's nowhere in the Constitution that states that you guys are to intervene. It explicitly says that the marshals are oversight, and I mean, there's like there's malice in the way the Angel Act is written, but whatever, you know. I mean, so there's another example.
But so you think that Angel and the justices had malice when they wrote it?
When they wrote what?
The legislation?
I don't know if it's malice as much as it was a power grab, to be 100% on it. Yes, I do think it's malice. If I think it's a power grab, yes.
Okay. But okay, well, do you think Angel's like and the DOJ have used that power? Do you think they've like thrown it around?
Yeah, absolutely they have. I mean, I got threatened for them to yeah. I mean, when we would have situations where, I mean, we're really going off the topic. I don't even know why we're going over this right now. But I will say this. I was giving time off to individuals. I had Angel come down here, scream at me, and tell me that she was going to come after my job if I reduce fines for people, which ultimately is not in her purview. But there's been issues. There's also been issues, like I said, with marshals coming down here and threatening to fire individuals inside of the LSPD for documents that were leaked into a public forum. So yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, regardless, it doesn't really matter. I think the thing is like, look, we just need to move forward and kind of, you know, there's issues that we've had. And I mean, obviously there's people that think that you are able to have an unbiased opinion and want to work with you. And there's individuals inside of the LSPD that have tainted experiences with the marshals. And I mean, it is what it is, but like moving forward, just fucking find a solution and get it done.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have a chat with Haley and Masters, and we'll see if we can come to something. Because at the end of the day, I think, you know, if situations like this, I think we all got to let bygones be bygones and actually try and work and figure shit out. Because, you know, this is the kind of stuff where we don't want, you know, the past hinder investigations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I have been trying to do it. I mean, I did. I mean, I approached Espino's, Lockhart, Nova yesterday, but they specifically told me that they only wanted to work with you.
Who? So you're on about? Oh, you're on about Haley and Masters. I thought you were on about the Marshals. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a firm. Listen, people fuck up, right? Humans are inherently flawed. No one is ever going to be perfect. But the thing we have to remember is that we need to strive for progress in kind of like, I guess, like day-to-day LSPD shit. And it's like, don't hold a grudge. People fuck up. Just learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. I mean, I'll be honest, Peter's I will say from this, because, you know, this has been the topic of conversation. From my side of things, I haven't seen any bias from any marshals. and I'm very objective, as people like to point out, and I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't seen anybody, leaving BCSO things to the
Do you
side
know
or.
about the investigation that was started on me? That was like immediately I was never given a chance to even kind of flourish as the ash chief in the LSPD, and
What was it regarding?
immediately there was a document brought up and an investigation brought on me to try to get me removed from my position. Are you aware of that?
When was this?
I mean, this was from the beginning. The first week I was appointed chief of police.
First week you were appointed chief. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm just saying you haven't seen anything, but I will tell you that I had a marshal come to me and tell me that from the beginning they've been trying to get me removed from my position. So it's like, look, I'm not trying to hold a grudge, but to say there's no bias is absolutely insane. It is what it is, and I kind of just for the sake, my number one priority is making sure my officers are taken care of. So I need to make sure that Maxwell and Masters are getting what they need. But yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't
I
know
understand.
if listen, you're too pure of heart, Dark. There's clear
No, I
bias on
that,
the whole thing.
no, I
Here's
want
another
listen.
example.
Listen, listen,
This
listen.
guy Fade documents and marshals coming to our meeting and threatening to fire our officers versus going up to the BCSO, which they never talked to anyone about, is also another example.
I think there's a big listen. I don't know every single detail that goes on in here, but I will say there's a big difference between a bias and the frequency of complaints and wrongdoing. I think I'll say that.
At what point though? Okay, so at what point though? But at what point do, like, with the complaints, do you guys actually look at the people that making it the complaints when there's no wrongdoing being found? Right. I mean, there's constant issues with me. I mean, another one is where I went down. I had good faith intentions to solve conflict down in the south side. I was shot in the head. Individuals immediately ran to the marshals, assumed that there was like conduct unbecoming of an officer, and tried to get me impeached for that. It's like, yes, there's complaints, but when does the validity of the complaints turn on the people that are making the complaints?
No, I completely agree with you. And don't get me wrong, and like I'm not talking about individual incidents or anything. And I agree with you. If like people are just running straight to the masters just to try and get people removed, then the validity of the complaint goes down completely. What I'm trying to say is, like from like an insider perspective, bias might look like there is bias, but then from our side of things, there might be a higher frequency of complaints for the LSPD versus the BCSO, and so it might look like bias from the inside, but from the outside, it might not look like bias at all. It's just like there's just more frequency of complaints for the LSPD. Like, what we're going to do? It's going to look like bias either way for you, right? Because we're going to work on more LSPD cases. If there's no BCSO cases to work, then what are we going to do?
Yeah. So I have a question, right? I don't know. No, that's not. No. What about the shit that happened with Helen?
I listen. I agree with you on the felon thing.
Right.
The
I
felon
mean,
thing.
so as far as bias goes, there's a clear cut thing, right? So Lockhart's going after criminal charges on Den of mishandling of evidence, which ultimately
I
that
don't believe
got
there's any
thrown
criminal
out.
charge.
No, she was working on. She told me. She said, "Hey, look, we might be looking at criminal charges of mishandling of evidence." And I said, "Okay, do what you need to do." Like, she came to me and she said, "I'm coming to you and letting you know that this is what we're working on. Like, I'm just giving you the heads up." And she's like, "I'm trusting you not to say anything." I said, "That's fine. Look, whatever you need from me." Literally for mishandling evidence, like the handling of evidence. But then on the other side, we have somebody who is violating someone's rights and nothing fucking happens. So I mean, how is that not bias?
Listen, Peters. I don't think you can compare like two individual cases handled by two different people. It's difficult to It's
Well,
not just.
that's exactly no. That's exactly the thing. That's what it is. If we're talking about bias, then we need to talk about. You're right. There's two different people, so there's potentially bias on one side of whoever's investigating it. It's not, and again, it shouldn't be two different people. It should be the marshals operating as a unit and being unbiased and being oversight. Like I guess that's my whole issue is
No, I understand where you're coming from. I listen, I get it. But I'm stand firm and say that I haven't seen any bias happening from within the marshal office against the LSPD.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye out for it because you've made a complaint, and I'll keep my.
Well, I'm not. I don't really give a fuck. I'm not making a complaint. It is what it is. I just, obviously, my officers have a tainted view of the marshals, and they only want to work with somebody. So I'm trying to come to you and let you know.
No, 100%.
I've been trying to work with like I said, Espino's, Nova, and Lockhart, but
Yeah.
it's like, listen, regardless of like what you saw, there's damage that's been done, and people don't trust marshals from the LSPD side of things. So I'm just giving you a heads up.
No, I understand, and yeah, I'll see if I can mend some bridges with Maxwell and Doc, and see if we can work on this case.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Jesus Christ, dude. What am I supposed to do with that, man? LSPD are like... All I keep thinking about is this meme. And it's just like, LSPD, relationship with marshals. How could marshals do this? Is all I keep thinking about. When he brings up the bias and everything like that.